Hello and welcome to the second in our mini-series on linkers. Those words that join two nouns, two adjectives, two clauses, two sentences, or just two ideas. So today's question is, can I start a sentence with because? I was going to call this, what is the difference between a coordinate and a subordinate conjunction, but that doesn't sound very sexy. And can I start a sentence with because, or sometimes can I start a sentence with while, is a question I do get asked. And the short answer is sometimes, which of course is not very useful. For the long answer, we do indeed need to look at this tricky question of coordinate and subordinate conjunctions. So let's cast our mind back to the previous talk, which was all about coordinate conjunctions. So coordinate conjunctions are a limited set: for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. As you may remember, if you watched the last episode, this spells fanboys. It's the smallest set of linking words. They're all very short. There are only 7 of them. And they're pretty straightforward. So here's some examples of coordinate conjunctions linking two clauses or sentences. She was poor, but she was honest. I like fish, and chips make it perfect. Okay, so we're joining two clauses here. A clause, remember, is something which has a subject and a verb, and in most cases, it's something that can stand as a sentence on its own. And we can also do it like this. This was the answer to the last question. Can I start a sentence with but? Well, yeah, you kind of can. For reasons why you shouldn't do this an awful lot, look at the last episode. Okay, subordinate conjunctions are slightly different. Okay, there are a whole load of them. They can express causation, like because and its relatives. They can be conditional, so we have if, unless, provided that, as long as. They can indicate comparison or concession, so although, though, even though, whereas. Time and place, when, while, after, wherever, whenever, however. All of these can be subordinate conjunctions, or some people call them subordinating conjunctions. Now, the point is that we have two clauses here, just as we did with and but so. They are not so commonly used to link other things like nouns or adjectives, although sometimes they can. So here we have a sentence with because joining two clauses. She fell asleep because the lesson was boring. Notice that unlike the coordinate conjunctions, we do not need a comma before the because. You can put one in if you want. I wouldn't in this sentence. I would only do it if I had very long clauses and I needed to emphasize that one clause had finished and another one was about to start. But you don't need it. It's not normal. Okay. Here, however, you do need a comma. Because the lesson was boring, she fell asleep. See, big red comma. Why? Because the special thing about subordinate conjunctions is that when they link two clauses, you can swap the clauses around. Yeah. She fell asleep because the lesson was boring. Because the lesson was boring, she fell asleep. And this is true for all of the subordinate conjunctions. For example, if you watch the essay doctor, you will get better grades for your essays. You will get better grades for your essays if you watch the essay doctor. Not necessarily true, but it's grammatical. Hey, so this is why in the second example, the comma is really, really important, because otherwise you have no way of telling when the first clause, the lesson was boring, ends, and the second clause, she fell asleep, starts. So how does this help us answer our question about starting a sentence with because? Well, I said sometimes. This is an example of how you can start a sentence with because. If you have two clauses, because the lesson was boring, she fell asleep. Okay? No problems there. And like I said, it's the same for all of these subordinate conjunctions. While, whenever, if, although, they all follow the same rule. You have two clauses, you can swap them around. If you swap them around, you have a comma in the middle. And this is why we don't do this. Although a lot of my students like to do it. She fell asleep, full stop, because the lesson was boring. Now, why is this bad? Because it creates a false expectation. What the reader expects when they see a full stop and because is something like this. She fell asleep, okay, finished. Because the lesson was boring, something else happened. She didn't wake up until it was finished. I don't know. So this is why we do not start sentences with because if they have one clause in academic writing. I keep saying this. If it's informal writing, you make your own rules. Yeah, you could do this. I still wouldn't do it, but I might occasionally, I suppose, do it for effect. Okay, like this. Okay, please, please, please do not do this in academic essays. Not only is there a problem with the punctuation, but following because with a noun, it's something that's become popular recently. I did it myself. Strictly speaking, though, it is not grammatical. Probably in time, English grammar will change, and because can go with a noun on its own. But for the moment, yeah, just don't do that in your essays. And that is it. It is that simple. Coordinate conjunctions are conjunctions that can combine two nouns, two adjectives, two clauses. They normally come in the middle with a comma before them. You can start a new sentence with one. I don't usually advise it in very formal writing, but you can do it. If you're curious about that, look at the episode on that. Subordinate conjunctions. You have two clauses and you can swap them around. For this reason, it is highly unadvisable to start a sentence that only has one clause with because or any other coordinate conjunction. And that's it. Next time, we're going to look at adverbial linkers, which is where it gets really funky. That's things like however, on the other hand, in addition, and so on. But for now, that's all from me, the Essay Doctor.